Think we're live. No intro, so we'll get right into it. What up, Nickel City Mafia? My name is Chris Caldwell. Here's my co-host Jeremy Ness, and we are
Hey,
so excited to talk about Week One of NFL season. It's finally here. All of our preparation, all of our draft research, looking into all of our sleepers and players we're high on. It's time. It's time to talk about it. We have stats on paper, what we love to look at. So week one's come and gone. We have week two starting tomorrow. Let's talk about it, man. I mean, I know. Congratulations, you just got married this past weekend. So
yeah,
I'm not really sure how much football you were allowed to watch or did
right,
watch,
yeah,
but
yeah.
anyway, from what you did see or were able to watch after the fact, what were your big takeaways from this weekend?
Man, Burrow, Mahomes, Josh Allen all lose. I would never have bet that ever. I think that was one of my biggest takeaways. Like three of the top quarterbacks in the league all lost, and none of them looked like very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Mahomes
like
did
not
Mahomes, but
not only did they lose, but for Allen and Burrow, you could almost say it was on them, right?
yeah,
The loss was on their shoulders, so to speak. So yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, my main takeaway was where are the points, right? I
yeah,
mean, I don't know, how many leagues you're in this year. I'm in 8 leagues. I
too many.
think, yeah, I think, you know, I don't know what my average was. I didn't look it up, but it was, 120. I mean, which is pretty
Yeah,
low. So yeah, man, I just feel like there was no points to be had. I mean, early in the NFL season, I think defenses are king, right? I mean, it takes a little bit for the offense to really get in sync, especially with only three preseason games and training camp's a little bit shorter. I know the Ravens coach John Harbaugh was really vocal about training camp's way too short. The Ravens had
yeah.
4 or 5 huge injuries in week one. Yeah, I think the offenses just across the league were rusty, so not a lot of points to come by.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that hit especially hard the tight end position. It seemed like all the top tight ends just did nothing. Not even counting about the injuries, the top two tight ends in the league. It's that was really frustrating for me too. Just looking across the board, just seeing like, wow, what are you supposed to do with tight ends if you invested in one of these high end tight ends, did nothing for you week one, and you're just hoping that
Exactly.
it comes back week two, week three, things get better.
Yeah. So get this. In half PPR scoring, two tight ends scored more than 10 points. And
Yeah,
HH, Hunter Henry and Hayden Hurst. Who would have ever thought, right?
yeah,
So yeah, it's rough times out there. Also in the top five was good old Donald Parham and Blake Bell. So anyway,
yeah,
tight end, I'd say like let's not get too down on ourselves because
yeah.
no one had a good tight end week. I don't think many people were even starting Hunter Henry or Hayden Hurst, so it probably didn't hurt anyone. It
I
was
did like Hunter Henry in best ball, so that helps me a little. But that's
there
about
you go.
it. I think I have him
Nice
on
hit.
one of my teams.
Nice hit. Nice hit.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, man, other than points being down, I think my main takeaways, and we'll probably try to stress this a lot over the coming weeks, is just let's take a deep breath. Let's not overreact. Let's not say, oh my God, my third or fourth round pick, Drake London sucks. I gotta cut him. Like, let's pause for a second. Let's think. These players are still really good. Everyone had a down week, unless your name's Tyreek Hill, and we'll be just fine, right? So,
That's a good topic start though. Drake London there, he's not startable. You can't start him after last week. You can't for at least 2 weeks. You gotta let him just do nothing on your bench, and
I
that's not what you
I I
drafted him for.
I think I probably agree with you, unless you're in one
Yeah,
of the leagues that, is three wide receivers and like three flexes or something, which I have a couple of those, I'm still like, he's my last in, right?
yeah,
Even
yeah.
that deep of a league, I'm trying to decide whether to start like Rondale Moore or,
Pick up Puka and start Puka over
dude, we're going to talk way
over
too much
Drake
about
London.
Puka. Yeah,
I know, I
I'm,
know.
I'm a little
We can
bit
talk
Puka.
about it later.
I'm a little bit Puka'd out, to be honest.
Hmm.
So yeah. Anyway, so we have 6 games lined up to talk about, that we thought were pretty interesting from fantasy perspective. Jeremy and I are from the DMV area. I'm a Ravens fan. Jeremy's a Commanders fan. So just like we always do on this show, we always talk about the Ravens game, and it's a Bills channel, so we always talk about the Bills game. So, and then we could pick a couple other ones that were cool. Maybe we'll start to throw Washington in there a little bit.
Yeah.
But
This week
yeah,
wasn't
first,
exciting. We won though, so
yeah. I mean, we'll just touch on
just
that real quick. I mean, I was a loser. So, I mean, it's been 1 week. I'm gonna try not to make too much of judgment, but I was a Antonio Gibson guy. I
I was
don't
with
think
you.
Brian and I'm still not off the train. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to make a judgment until like week 3, but it was Brian Robinson's game. But it kind of made sense, right? They were at home. They were big favorites. Cardinals are just the worst team in the league, so it makes sense that Brian Robinson runs up the middle, 19 times
He
for
did catch a touchdown though, which is not Brian
that was
Robinson.
that
It's
was
like
that was
it's not.
deflating. That was
Yeah.
deflating.
But it was
So
also like a
anyway,
scramble play. He was just looking for anybody open, and he just happened to be there open. It wasn't like
yeah.
designed pass play there. Didn't seem like it.
Right. Yeah. So the first game we'll get into is Texans at Ravens. Sloppy game. Ravens pulled it out. They won by 25-9. Actually, did you hear it was the first ever NFL game to finish 25-9 in ever?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Go figure.
that's kind of cool.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, really sloppy game. Lamar Jackson didn't throw a touchdown pass, didn't run for one either. But the big news coming out of this for fantasy wise is J.K. Dobbins. Injury bug bites him for the third year in a row in a big way. Torn Achilles out for the year. You have Gus Edwards and Justice Hill stepping in, each of them taking 8 carries each. Gus Edwards doing more with the carries, but Justice Hill finding the end zone twice.
Yeah, you got the goal line stuff, and
Yeah, so since Dobbins got put on the IR, Melvin Gordon was elevated to the team. We'll kind of do like a little waiver preview here. Do any of those running backs interest you at all?
I've taken a stab at Justice Hill and a couple teams just to see. He gets the goal line stuff, so like as a flex play maybe. It's hard to see like any of those guys taking over the backfield. I think it's going to be a split, at least a two-way split. And if Melvin Gordon, does as well as he did last year, it could be a three-way split and just kind of useless for fantasy, right?
I know, right? Like, it kind of depends what Melvin Gordon has left in the tank because remember how frustrating he was last year for Javante Williams owners, right?
Mm,
I mean, he was kind of decent, but another
yeah,
year older. I think Melvin Gordon's a clear third on that list.
yeah,
I'm with you. I think Justice Hill is the priority ad over Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards hasn't caught a pass in 2 years. That's worrisome. So if you're in a PPR league, I think Gus Edwards is completely off the radar.
yeah.
Justice Hill, way more dynamic back, faster, better receiving back, and he scored 2 touchdowns. So I think they like him at the goal line too. So yeah, I think we're in agreement there, Justice Hill. But yep. Other than Dobbins being out for the year, I think my big fantasy takeaway is far and away, and not even close to being a conversation. Zay Flowers is wide receiver one on the Ravens. Looked
Good at
amazing.
football.
Good at football.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, just 9 receptions, period, right there. That's what you want. You drafted him where you did, he's a rookie. Getting 9 receptions week one just means he's solid for the rest of the year.
yep, and 2 carries. And
Yeah.
a cool stat I saw is Zay Flowers had more targets as the first read by 15% over any other receiver in the NFL. So that means design plays. They are well aware they need to get him the ball, get it to him often. I mean, I think this is the tip of the iceberg, man. I mean, he looks so good.
He
And
does.
yeah, man, I think that's a buy high situation. I mean, everyone saw the highlights, everyone sees the box score, but I think I'm even higher on him than the stats show. If you just saw the way that the Ravens they ran their offense through Zay Flowers.
I agree. I think it's okay to buy high on guys like that where the price is already going to be kind of high. But if you think they can get elevated to that wide receiver one tier, then it's worth paying the price now because it's just going to double later or triple,
Right.
And it's an overreaction to one game, but it could pan out for you and be a good overreaction.
Yeah, we'll temper expectations a little bit. Mark Andrews was out of this game with a thigh injury, so I think it's not a long-term thing. He should be back next week or the week after. So could have been a little bit of the reason he got some extra targets, But just watching the way they used Rashad Bateman, I think he's clearly the number three. Odell Beckham actually played the most snaps at receiver for Ravens. His box score didn't look good, but he also had two like longish pass interferences that he drew. So he could have had a much bigger day if those weren't pass interference. So I think Odell is a nice little pickup because he did play every passing play that the Ravens had. So
Yeah.
that's a good sign from an aging veteran that we were a little worried, coming off an injury. He's fully healthy.
Yeah, we did just get a question here. Philly Mike OG. Man's in a tough situation. He says, "What's good? Superflex. My QBs are dead. Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, Joshua Dobbs, and Ritter. That is rough,
Oh my
man. That's like
God,
one of
dude.
the worst lucks I've heard this week so far." And then RBs, you got Dobbins, Taylor, Kamara. Oh man,
Dude,
Rob
this has got to be a
and
troll.
Rashad
This has
White.
got to be a troll.
That's tough. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt or out. That's a rough one, man. QBs, I would say, I guess you kind of got to grab Wilson off the waiver wire or just start Ritter and hope something different happens.
Well, I
I don't know
mean, yeah.
who else is sitting on your
So
waiver wire right now in the
I'm
Superflex.
assuming if it's a super flex league, the only starting quarterback should be Zach Wilson, right? Um,
Probably.
Other than that, there's probably no. I don't know. I think you have to spend. You probably have to spend half your fab on Zach Wilson, right?
Maybe, and then the rest on maybe pick a Baltimore running back. But we'll get to the waivers in a bit, though. But there is this week. You're good on running backs. There's a bunch of running backs you can try to go after this week that have a lot of upside. So I will say,
So
we can mention a few real quick, like Kyron Williams. We talked about Justin Hill, Gus Edwards. You got Joshua Kelly. So if you want some running back options, you're good there. And your wide receivers, you got Tyreek Hill. So you probably won week one, even with all your quarterbacks going down, because Tyreek just held it down for you, man.
yeah, I'm gonna say, just looking at your roster, Superflex, man, you gotta make a move. You have to make a trade. I mean, Dobbins, it sucks. Taylor, you're gonna be fine. I wouldn't panic there. Obviously, you drafted him, so you knew he was gonna be out. Same with Kamara. You just need to hang on and like somehow win one or two more games before week five, before Taylor and Kamara come back. I mean, B Rob was fine, Rashad White was fine, and I think running backs are freaking hot on the waiver wire this week. I
Yeah.
think they're better than wide receivers, and your wide receivers are stacked. I mean, you probably have the best wide receiver group in the league.
Yeah.
But if I'm you, I'm probably, man, I don't know. I'm probably trying to pick up a running back or two and then trade one of these wide receivers to get a quarterback.
Yeah, maybe sell high on Ayuk or something and try to snag a decent quarterback. Ayuk maybe Kirk better than Kirk
Kirk,
Cousins.
Dak Prescott, he had a bad week.
Dak, yeah,
I don't know.
Dak had a bad game.
I
Tried to
think
buy
I'm
low.
with you, dude. But so who would you rather sell, Devonta Smith or Ayuk? I think Ayuk's gonna have a better year.
Yeah, that's tough. I probably like Devontae Smith a little more, and you just have Ayuk on this huge upswing, right? So if you're gonna sell him now and
It's the best time,
try to go
right?
for Dak. Go for Dak or go for a higher up quarterback that somebody maybe wouldn't normally think about, and just say, hey, you're getting the top wide receiver.
That's
See
what
what
I would do.
happens.
Yeah, I mean,
There
your
you
wide
go. So
receivers are.
he's offered Harris and Kirk Cousins for Devontae Smith and Kamara. Nahi, apparently, we both don't like Nahi this year, and he
Right.
showed it. Well, the entire Steelers were just trash, but this last week, um,
So
I mean,
actually, I
that's
don't,
not
I
a
don't, I don't hate this because here's the
no.
thing: if someone offered me Kirk Cousins for Devonta Smith straight up, and I'm in your situation in a super flex league, I'm probably going to do it. And the fact that you're
Yeah,
giving me Najee Harris for Kamara,
a
when
starting running back when
number
Kamara's
one,
not
Najee's
starting.
playing, Kamara's not even
Yeah,
playing, and I mean, you were much higher on Kamara than I was this year. I mean, I think
yeah.
Jamal Williams has a role there, and
I think he needs a fix, and this is the fix, and it gets him through. And those are two solid guys that can get you through the season too. They're not
dude,
just guys that are
I
going to
think
get you through a few weeks.
Philly Mike, I think you do that trade. I mean, I
Yeah,
think that's almost like a slam dunk for you.
yeah. It fixes your problem
I like
for
it a lot,
sure.
and you have Christian Watson and Jackson Smith and Jigba come on the come up, like, and
And
honestly,
no
like,
hands, Tony. He could come back. He could grow some extra hands. You never
I
know.
might talk about Tony. I think if he's dropped, I'm gonna pick him up more than I should.
I. You never know.
Exact. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
too talented, man. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for the question. Appreciate that. I think you should do that trade. It's funny how we just said Kirk Cousins or Dak for one of your
Yeah,
receivers, and there you go.
and
And
first guy
I
right
like the
there.
Najee for Kamara swap too. So I think
Yeah,
that's a slam dunk trade. Go accept that right
it's
now.
buying low on Najee a little bit, which I like.
Hmm.
I always like buying low on somebody and see if they can bounce back. And you're trading a running back that's not going to play for 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks for someone who can play right now, get you through the JK issue you
Exactly.
have. But
I'm actually very impressed with that offer. I think you need to do it
yeah,
immediately. Great job.
agreed.
Okay.
If
So just
I had
to,
one more thing with the Ravens Texans game, there is we didn't talk about Nico Collins. You were
that
big
was
on
my
him.
next dude,
Okay, good. I was gonna say you were
dude,
big on him, and he showed up.
dude.
He showed up for you.
He looks good, man. I mean,
Yeah, number one.
I I like him a lot. You know, 6 catches, 80 yards, and he was their focus of their offense. I mean, Robert Woods, you know, he's like that, you know, the someone you look at when it's 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4,
Yeah,
whatever. But Nico Collins is the big play guy, and he was making a lot of really tough catches. I just think Stroud was looking his way early and often, and I don't know, man. I that was one of my sleepers of the year. I have tons of Nico Collins in Dynasty, and I'm pumped, man. He looks really good.
yeah. Philly Mike said he countered, got a little greedy. I feel you there. It's always worth a counter. You never know. And we were gonna talk about Puka later, but Puka looks good. He looks legit. If you can snag him in that deal, worth it. If you can't though, like we said, the original deal, I would jump on that one too.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm with you.
It
It's
might be
like
a little greedy.
I always want the trade to be, the last offer I send, not to like
Yeah,
accepting someone's offer, but don't ruin it because the original one was great, right? So
yeah,
let's not get a
yeah, yeah,
little greedy.
yeah.
Anyway, good luck, man. Cool. So I think we're pretty much wrapped up on the Texans game. Like kind of final thought there was Damian Pierce's usage was pretty disappointing, but the game script just wasn't in his favor. I think Damian Pierce is a decent buy low.
Yeah,
Love the player. Game script just sucked. Um,
exactly. I agree.
yeah.
Yeah. Here's another trade question we got popping up. So Fancy 101, Tyler Algier and Amari Cooper for Cup. He's already got an amazing set of wide receivers there. He's got JJ, Adams, and St. Brown. Yeah, that's 1,000 times yes. I think you're betting on Cup playing this year, which at first I would have said was definitely going to happen. Now, like who knows? But I think it's a good bet when you have three solid top one wide receivers.
Yeah, and then he said, "I want to trade Cup after I get him for a good running back." Well, just maybe rather than making it a two-step process, why don't you see if you can trade Tyler Algier and Amari Cooper for a good running back? You might skip the middle step, right? But
That's
I
true.
think
Yeah,
I think I like this either way. I mean, I
yeah,
think Algier is definitely the number one waiver wire pickup if he's somehow available in your league. He had a great week, and he's a good player. And Atlanta hates throwing the ball, so I think there's two viable running backs there. So yes, I would do that trade for Cup, and then if you want to flip him for a running back, sure, but maybe with sell Tyler Algier high with Amari Cooper and see what running back that gets you.
also try to hold Cup until we know he's going to play, so you get the max value there if you're going to do that trade. So you
Yeah,
definitely want to get max value.
that's a
Yeah,
good trade. I mean, you're strengthening a strength. Your wide receivers are already really good. So
yeah. Algier and Amari is going to be tough to get a top 10 running back for. I think you'd have to go more towards like the RB2 range for those two guys. Just
so
that they're not like a hot commodity right now. I guess is the best way to put it. Like they're both good, but
so he says no one is accepting Algier and
yeah.
Amari for a top 10 running back for some reason. Well, I mean, I know the reason is that's not a good trade. So you're gonna have to shoot a little bit lower than that. Let's think here.
Or
Like
Cup could get you into that situation. Cup comes back, has a blow up game. You can trade Cup for an RB one
you would just
potentially.
have to wait like 3 or 4
Yeah.
weeks, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Like so who would we want to trade Algier and Amari for? Like Jameer Gibbs?
Yeah, Gibbs is so people are actually that's a perfect situation I think. I
Because he
had
had a
Gibbs
down
down
week.
as
He
like
had a
a
down
buy
week, yeah.
low a little bit. He had a down
Hmm.
week. He's a rookie. People are thinking, hey, we might not be using a rookie. The only problem is that Jameer Gibbs owner is usually somebody who really jumped
It's
high on
sharp, yeah.
Gibbs and
Yeah.
got him early. But I do like that one a lot because he'll bounce back for sure. Um,
Yeah,
trying to
I
think
mean,
of anybody else kind of
I
running
think
back wise.
I think Gibbs is a good target. I think maybe like Ramondre Stevenson,
Yeah, Ramondre's in there too. Maybe like a Javante
Travis E-
Williams.
Travis Etienne.
Oh, he had a good game. I don't know. He might be tough to pry
Yeah, he
away
might be
right
tough
now.
to pry.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone in that range. Kenneth Walker. I don't know.
We're
Amari
talking about
might have been
Najee Harris. He just had a bad game, and he's got RB1 upside. We were talking about
yeah,
him earlier. He had a really bad game. Go after Najee Harris with it and see if the owner's sick of it already.
Brees Hall. Yeah, I mean he had a
Yeah,
pretty good
yeah.
game, so that might be hard to do. But
And quick,
yeah,
quick
someone
shout
in
out to
that
Philly
range.
Mike. Appreciate the questions, man. We like answering questions. It's fun for us. All good.
Yeah. My running backs are Brees Hall, Madison, David Montgomery, Javante. So I'm not dying for a running back.
Oh yeah, the
Okay,
Horn Cup, man.
then
Yeah,
just go. Then just get trade Amari and Algier for Cup. I mean, Tyler Algier is not starting for your team. Look at your running
no.
backs, and Amari Cooper is like your fourth wide receiver at best, right? So that is literally the perfect trade. I mean, you have a surplus of both. Put Cup on the IR and just wait. I mean, I think that's a great trade. Trade
Yeah.
alert.
Trade alert.
Trade
I
alert.
like it.
Another incoming trade. Russell Wilson, Miles Sanders, and Jahan Dotson for Brandon Ayuk and Jonathan Taylor. I don't like that. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
just Jonathan Taylor's upside is so huge.
I know
That's
you need
tough.
a. I know you
I
need,
think it's. I feel like
I know
it's
you
like
need
a little fair because you're desperate for a quarterback, but
but the other one's so much better. Do the Kirk Cousins
I
one.
agree. The Kirk Cousins one is better.
The Kirk Cousins one is far
Yeah,
superior to
you're not
this.
giving up two of your top players for the Kirk Cousins one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't do that. Okay. All right. So moving on from the Ravens. Yeah, guys. Anyone's out there, drop questions. The more the merrier. Keep them coming. Trade questions, waiver questions, sit start questions. We'll answer everything. We'll stop what we're doing and answer your questions. So we really appreciate this. So next game, we'll talk about 49ers and Steelers. Man, Steelers went from having one of the hottest preseasons with just a high flying offense to laying a complete dud at home and scoring 7 points. And you hate to see it, but
You do.
49ers are they're the cream of the crop, aren't they?
Everything about the Niners looked good, right? Purdy looked amazing. Ayuk goes crazy. McCaffrey is just clicking in that offense. Everybody's clicking in the offense except for Kittle. We talked about the tight end issues. Kittle not doing much, but he didn't need to. That's the thing is other players aren't going to score points when you have a couple. When you have that many great offensive weapons, not everybody can score points, unfortunately. But yeah, they just look so good, and I'm bummed the Steelers look so bad. I was high on Pickett coming back, and there's still time. It's one game, right? Like we said, we tried to make 1 week become a thing, but we'll see. And then also there's the injury, and man, these injuries suck. It's just not fun for fantasy football, not fun for the team, not great. And
Yeah.
Deontay's banged up, out for 3 to 4 weeks. Here we go. Another question here.
Yeah, and they have a bye. Steelers have an early bye, like week
Yeah.
5 or 6. So I think they're just going to hold Deontay Johnson out through
Would be
that.
smart.
I would almost say he's like borderline droppable if you don't have an IR in your league. I don't know. Depends. But okay, so 10 team, half PPR. Team is Waddle, Olave, Aaron Jones, Dave Montgomery, Kelsey, Zay Flowers, Kyron, Hill,
Kelsey for
Dubs.
Chubb. Do it.
Should I trade?
Yes.
Should I trade Kelsey for Chubb?
I like Chubb a lot. And Kelsey is having some injury issues. In a heartbeat, do it.
So your running backs. So
What do you
Chubb would
think?
be your RB1, and then you have Aaron Jones, who might miss time. It looks like he's a little hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like Chubb a lot. I've not. I mean, if you looked at where they were drafted, Kelsey always went ahead of Chubb by a few picks, at least if not 5 to 7ish picks. But I like Chubb a lot. So I think that's
yeah. I guess
especially for Kelsey being banged up right now. He might not play next week. You don't know.
I think with Kelsey being banged up, and also the fact that you have Aaron Jones, who had an injury and he's kind of questionable to play this week. Yeah, I think we're gonna do that with an asterisk of you need to make sure you secure a tight end on the waivers this week, and we're gonna talk about who we like. There'll probably be a decent amount of tight ends. I mean, we might even get lucky and see some really good tight ends cut that shouldn't be
Yeah.
cut. Like, yeah, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, man, I think
Just off the
whenever
top
you
of
can
my
trade
head-
a hurt, whenever you
I
can
was
trade
gonna
a
top
hurt
of my head
player
if
for,
Musgrave is there, take Musgrave. Luke Musgrave.
he's my number one
He's
tight
on our
end
list
ad.
for later. Take him if
Yeah.
he's there. Yeah, to
for
replace
sure.
Kelsey. And then
Yeah, I think we're
Philly
both
Mike
with you,
got
man.
back to us, accepted a trade. Devontae Smith, Jonathan Taylor, Kincaid for Stevenson and Geno Smith. I like it. Those are two players that are going to be, ones at their position. The
Okay.
Geno Smith QB1, Ramondre Smith running back one. Let's
So I would
fix
say
your
like
team.
Ramadre was drafted ahead of Jonathan Taylor, right? At the end of when Jonathan Taylor was going to be out for 4 weeks, Ramadre was
Yeah,
always drafted ahead of him. So, yeah, so you basically traded Devonta Smith for Geno Smith, which I think is fine. I mean, I like
yeah,
the Kirk Cousins one a little bit better, but you did it. I think you're fine.
yeah. It's good. Yeah,
You,
yeah. And
you have
David
you have you
Ezekiel's
have
saying he's giving us his waiver wire here. He's got Higby, Henry, and Musgrave. I probably like
Musgrave.
Higby best on that list. But you like Musgrave a little more.
I
With Cup
mean,
out, I know we didn't see a lot this week, but with Cup out, Higby could still tick up. I think they're both pretty close for me. And then Henry's kind of a third, but they used him. They used
yeah,
Henry a lot, like a
yeah.
lot.
I think Henry's a little bit fool's gold. I mean, Mac Jones is
Yeah,
not going to. He was QB2 on the week. I don't think he's going to have a week like that again for the rest of the year. So,
probably not.
Hunter Henry, he's a touchdown scorer, right? I mean, he's going to be fine. But they also have Mike Gesicki. I don't know. I like Higbee and Musgrave like way better than
Yeah,
Henry.
Musgrave's got big upside. I say go. If you're doing like a fab situation, waiver situation, go for both. Hopefully, you get one and you don't spend too much money or too much priority. That stuff like that.
Yeah,
But as long as you snag, honestly, if you snag one of those three, you'll be okay. But we both have Higby and Musgrave as the top two there, man.
for sure.
Yeah. But
Cool. So, yeah,
we're talking about
just
Steelers Niners next.
yeah, Steelers Niners. I think, man, Brock Purdy's just the truth, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the truth. So I mean, in one QB leagues, I'm not sure Brock Purdy was always drafted, and I think he's going to be like a borderline top 14, 15 QB. I mean, so he's like very streamable, and
He
if
could
you
be
want
right
to,
at that 12 spot, like easy. He keeps this up with the weapons he's got and everything. As long as he doesn't throw picks, he's just dumping off to McCaffrey. That's enough right there. Let alone Ayuk, Debo, everybody else they got going, Kittle. It's definitely possible.
yeah. So Philly, Mike, I'll have to be honest with you, man. I don't play much NFL DFS, and if I do, I don't really look at it till like Saturday. So, I'll try to walk you through this.
I do a little bit.
Yeah. So, I
Um,
mean, what do you think about a stack? I don't
so
know.
I try to avoid like the quarterbacks that are not going to put up points, and that's a nice way to say I don't like Stroud for like DFS. But I like playing kind of like unique team stacks and like that because if that does go off for you, it's a good chance not that many people have that stack going. That being said, though, I Collins I like at that price. I think it's a great price for him. After we saw what he did, he could do well next week. Woods, you can get somebody else way better for that price. And Stroud, I'd rather pay up for a better quarterback. That's going to score you more points.
Yeah, I would say just play Collins as a one-off. I mean, maybe this is fine if you're doing like a low dollar, high multi-entry tournament. I would never play this in cash or anything like that. I mean, let's not forget the Texans didn't score a touchdown week 1, so
Yeah, and I'll say
I don't
if you
know.
switch it up, Collins, you can bring it back with Pittman because they're playing Indy, and you can do kind of little Collins Pittman there, and hope it's a high scoring game where they both go off.
Yeah,
That
maybe
would be
do
my strategy.
Anthony Richardson with Pittman, then
Yeah,
bring it back with Collins. I mean, I
yeah,
think we both
and
like that
I,
better.
I do usually you do have the right idea though. I do like to stack two with the quarterback, so I would try to maybe throw in another stack there. The problem with Indy, which we have that game coming up next. Actually, there's not really anybody else there except for Anthony Richardson and Pittman.
That is true. You could get weird with Kylan Granson if you want to go super punt on tight end. He had a good week, and their other tight ends hurt. Jelani Woods is hurt, so
Yeah.
I like kind of like Colin Granson as like a min price tight end if you're going to play the Indy stack. But I'm going to touch on one more thing from the 49ers Pittsburgh game, and then we'll get to some other questions in the chat. So Deontay Johnson out, looks semi-serious. We've got to bump up the following players: Najee Harris, George Pickens, Allen Robinson, who led the team in receiving, and
Yeah.
one of my favorite waiver wire pickups of the week, Calvin Austin. I think he's going to step into the Deontay Johnson role. So yeah, I mean, I think Allen Robinson and Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin's probably available in 99% of leagues. Allen Robinson probably available in like 70, 80% of leagues. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think you have two nice, nice floor wide receiver pickups there, and George Pickens, great buy low, I think, because he's going to have like 4 or 5 weeks as the bona fide number one here, and you never know if he takes off, he might never give it back up. So let's see here. Would you trade Dak for Daniel
DJ.
Jones? I have Goff and Amon-Ra stack, and I want to rotate a good backup on good matchups. Daniel Jones has rushing upside with the right matchups. Could be nice for him. Um, I think
That's tough.
Dak
I
was
assume we're talking about like
drafted.
one QB, right?
Yeah, because he said he wants to rotate,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
think Dak was probably drafted ahead of Daniel Jones in 90% of leagues, if
Yeah.
not higher. So let's try not to overreact for week one. I mean, Dak probably outscored Daniel Jones, did he not? I mean, he didn't do much, but uh,
Yeah.
I
I was
don't.
gonna
I
say he didn't
mean,
have
Daniel
to.
Jones. I mean, the Giants scored no points, right?
Yeah, I was to
So
say. So Daniel Jones did really bad.
I no, I'm not
But
trading Dak
they'll
for
have a
Daniel
bounce back.
Jones.
We think at Arizona this week. They're gonna Giants actually. We're talking about pickups for this week. Giants D is a sneaky pickup. I think they play Arizona, and it's a good chance they can bounce back and have a really good game.
Yeah, so I think what he's getting at here is he has
Mm,
Waller, so he wants to stack. I think don't try too hard to stack and downgrade your actual
yeah,
players. I mean, when you're playing like week to week fantasy football, I don't think stacks are all that important. I mean, for DFS they are, but for
agreed.
weekly fantasy football, I don't ever chase stacks at all.
I think stacking is great for DFS. It's great for best ball when it comes to just like kind of regular drafting and your home leagues, your regular leagues, even dynasty leagues. Stacking isn't going to have as big of an impact as it does in
It's
those
actually
other
it's going to raise your
platforms.
ceiling, but it's going to lower your floor, right? Because if
Yeah.
that team you're playing has a bad game, or you don't hit that touchdown, or like that receiver doesn't have a good game, you lost twice, right? Instead of once. So I'm not going to say I'm like anti stacking, but I don't know. I don't chase it whatsoever. So that's where I'm at on that.
Yeah, and I'll swing back real quick and answer Philly Mike's DFS quick question. So top three cash QBs. I don't know if like top three, but three I like this week. You've got Daniel Jones. We talked about going against Arizona. Good bounce back for him. We've got Geno Smith going against Detroit, and then Jared Goff going against Detroit. Detroit Seattle game could end up being a high scoring game. So I like to target games like
Golf
that
against
for
Seattle. Yeah.
cheaper quarterbacks too, because they're cheaper and you can get some good stacks in there. With both Seattle and Detroit have great weapons, you can get some good stacks and hope they go off.
Yep. I dig that. Cool. All right. Well, let me see. Yeah, our kind of our favorite little darling there, Jalen Warren, didn't do a whole lot.
Neither
Kind of
did not
split.
he though.
Yeah, I know, kind of split time, which was promising. So I think if you drafted him, you're definitely holding him. He had 5 catches, which is a good sign. So yeah, I think the Steelers are pretty much a hold or add. Oh yeah, Pat Fryermuth hurt too, possibly.
Oh, I remember
So
that
I
one.
I think I think Pickens and Allen Robinson are really good players to have for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Ooh, that's a tough
Okay,
one. Oh, here's
let
another
me
quick
see.
question. Elijah Moore, a Puka week 2. I'm gonna go Puka here. I'm feeling the Puka hype. I think I love seeing a rookie go off, and I like investing and betting on the rookie to keep going off for the season. So I like it. I'm going to stick with Puka, and especially with Cup still being out. And I think even when Cup comes back, Puka has a chance to keep his spot in that offense because Cup is a huge slot guy, right? He was getting all that stuff over the middle. Puka's kind of just running down the outside.
Mhm.
He could keep a spot there, and I like him. Elijah Moore still hasn't really done a ton yet. So
Yeah, 7 targets, but Puka had
yeah,
15, right?
yeah, that's what I'm
So
saying.
yeah,
I got to go Puka week 2 in that situation. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
starting him in
I'll
a
I'll
couple leagues because I'm like I just think he's good.
I'll reluctantly agree. I'm trying not to get caught up in the hype, but I mean,
Yeah,
I think versus Elijah Moore,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
in
fine
that
with that.
situation.
Who do the Browns play?
I just had it pulled up. There's Steelers who look terrible. So
Hmm.
I know that's the Elijah Moore could do something, could do a little bit more, and the Rams get the Niners who look good.
Nah, I'm starting Elijah Moore. I changed my
You're going
mind.
Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm
starting
still grabbing
anyone against the
Puka.
49ers.
I think
Nah.
even if they're down, they're gonna have to throw it, and Puka could get a couple bombs or something. So
All right, we'll disagree on this one. I can't do it. I can't do it. Not against the Niners. Once I heard the
uh,
matchup, I'm out. Cool. All right, next game. Pretty cool, high scoring, exciting game. Jags at Colts. So, yeah, man, Anthony Richardson looks legit. I mean, he kind of
he's
did
doing what we all thought.
he did everything we wanted him and needed him to do, right? I mean, 40 yards on the ground, he scored a touchdown, had a passing touchdown, took 4 sacks, but only threw one interception, and absolutely fed his alpha receiver, Michael Pittman. So yeah, man, I think that if you drafted Anthony Richardson, it was probably somewhere around like QB 11, 12, 13,
Yep.
and I think you're pretty happy with that because the whole point is he has top 5 QB upside if he is him, right?
And if you drafted Pittman because he was falling pretty late, you're
Hmm.
ecstatic because he's playing top 10 wide receiver football right now. And I was worried. I didn't think it was going to happen. And I was wrong,
Yeah.
apparently.
So yeah, you're pretty happy with that Pittman pick. The Colts running backs are just a mess, like so much of a mess. You have Taylor out. There's rumors that, he could even still be traded. Let's see here. Evan Hall got hurt in this game, I think.
Who I
De-
liked as a rookie.
yeah,
I
Deion
started Dion in the
Jackson.
league, and Dion did nothing, and now he's hurt.
Yeah, and so they
It's a
worked out
mess.
Daryl Henderson today. That's how low they are.
I
So
didn't know he was still playing.
yeah, man. I don't know. I don't think any Indianapolis running back is startable until they, acquire someone who's going to be the guy or, trade Taylor away. I don't know. But no more Deion Jackson or Evan Hall for now.
I stashed Evan Hall in my IR if you have an IR spot. I don't know how banged up he is, so
Was he
if
able to be
that's
put on
anything.
IR? Like, was
Yeah,
he actually put on IR?
yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, okay. So on the flip side of the ball, Jacksonville, Trevor looked amazing. Calvin Ridley, dude,
Ridley is
he's
back. He's back,
he's
baby. Like he never left.
he's more than back. I mean,
Like
he
he
looks
never left.
he looks better
Yeah.
than he did, than he did 3 years ago when he was with the Falcons. Unreal, dude. I mean, he's all the way back, and you love to see it. And man, talk about one of the duds of the week, Christian Kirk. Believe he was out snapped, out targeted, out produced by Zay Jones.
He wasn't in two wide receiver snaps. Sets.
No,
Sorry, two wide receiver sets. It was Zay and Ridley. No Kirk, the guy they paid a ton of money to. I we'll see if that changes, but for now, he's another guy we were talking about. I was saying I don't think Drake London's startable. I don't think Christian Kirk is startable after this week. I
yeah,
would start Zay Jones over him. Like they're playing Zay in the two wide receiver sets. I have him as a buy this week if he's available. If you can get him on the cheap or something, Zay is a great stash.
yeah. He might even be he might even be on your waivers. You never know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Evan Ingram, nice little week. I was really big on Evan Ingram this year. They paid him a lot of money for a 3-year extension. Obviously, they like him. He was really good last year. He's like top 5 or 6 tight end last year. So I think you're really happy if you went Evan Ingram as your tight end one. It probably looks like you got a value there. And my man Travis Etienne, looking good. 18 carries, a touchdown, and the biggest thing is 5 catches. Thank the
yep.
Lord they use him in the passing
That's what we
game.
needed to see. Yeah,
Yeah. So Bigsby vultured a touchdown from him. That kind of stung a little bit, but it happens, right? I think the bigger
yeah,
thing for me is those 5 catches basically count as that second touchdown because last year he had
exactly.
way too many games with 1 or 2 catch. So that was actually bigger for me to see and be confident in than him getting, 2 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, man. Jags were humming. I was really big on their offense in the preseason, and it looks like it's not going to disappoint. So yeah, pretty much every Jags player you have except Christian Kirk, you're pretty happy with right now.
Yeah. Let's answer this next question because that was actually on my list of things to talk about. Was Cortland Sutton? I have him as a big fat sell. So I love this trade. Ventrell for you. I would do it in a heartbeat.
Wait a minute.
I'm not a
Like,
Sutton. I think Stevenson better than Connor, Pickens better than Sutton, especially the situation.
yeah, if
I
this
would trade Suttons and
if
James
this
Connor
trade
for
is in your
Pickens.
inbox, like you can hit
Yeah,
accept. Like, why haven't you already done it yet?
do
So
it. No, because
Pickens greater than
Sutton's situation just isn't great, right? We have Judy coming back at some point. We've got Mims waiting in the wings, potentially, with talent to do a little better. And there's been reports that like people in the organization aren't crazy with Sutton, aren't
yeah.
crazy about Sutton, and he did well this week. It's a great time to sell.
Can I say something? I would do this trade Sutton and Connor for Stevenson, not even getting Pickens.
Wow,
That's
there you
how much of
go.
a that's how much of a slam dunk this trade is. So if this is in
You
your
heard it.
inbox, you need to go accept that.
Do it.
And if you're about to offer it, I'd even throw in one more piece on your side to sweeten it because I think it's that good of a trade for you. Okay, so yeah, thanks for the questions. Keep them coming. We'll answer whatever. But next game we'll talk about is Packers kind of had their way with the Bears in a division rivalry game. And we were, I think this game was interesting because it was two quarterbacks we were kind of craving to see what they were going to give us this year. And I think they both came through. I mean, Jordan Love in a bigger way than Justin Fields, but
Yeah,
I kind of like what I saw from Justin Fields too. I mean, he did it on the ground, he did it through
a
the air.
little.
Yeah, I mean, it,
I
it
kind of
was a
thought he'd
little
do more
rough.
on the ground, honestly. Like, I know he did
I
40
mean,
yards, but
no, 59. If he's going to give me 59 rushing yards every game, I'm going to take it.
yeah, I
So,
thought he did 40 rushing yards. But yeah, yeah, and it's still good. But I mean, it's frustrating. Like, what's going on with DJ Moore there? He had like 2 receptions.
he's my number one. He's my number one buy low, DJ Moore
Yeah,
actually, because if the Bears are going to let Justin Fields throw 37 times, we need to have DJ Moore. Um, I think people were down on him because of the volume. I mean, the Bears were the worst passing offense ever last year, and their volume was low, their efficiency was low. But if they're really going to throw the ball, over 30 times a game, maybe it was a little bit of it was game script, but I don't know. I think if someone's panicking with DJ Moore, I will gladly step in and take that.
how about your boy Mooney though? You talked him up and he delivered.
Dude, I'm crushing the sleepers right now. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mooney. I think the amount of Darnell Mooney I have in best ball is probably excessive. I mean, I pretty much took him, near the end of most of my best ball drafts. I don't know my percentage, but I bet it's over 50% owned on Darnell Mooney.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, he was just way too cheap, man. He's
Yeah.
he was a year or two removed from just an absolutely huge season when we were talking about him about like dynasty wide receiver 15 to 20, right? So I don't know. Um, yeah, big on him. And my other big Bears takeaway is that pretty much three-man committee in the backfield, with Roshan Johnson looking the best of the three.
All
So,
those receptions, 6 receptions for Roshan.
yep, yep.
That's
So,
what you want to see.
and it's like, is it just me? And maybe I don't know like exactly each of their skill sets, but is it like, I feel like Herbert, Donta Foreman, and Roshan Johnson are all like somewhat similar. Typically, when you have like three people in the backfield, you have like a pretty vast like variety of
Yeah.
the type of player you have. They're kind of all like meaty
They're all built.
guys.
Yeah, yeah.
They're all built. They're all like none of them have like long speed. They're all pretty like powerful. They're all kind of like decent at catching, but not great at it. I don't know. I feel like it's almost like three of the same person. Maybe they just know what kind of running back they like, and they got three of them, and they're going to see which one's best.
Yeah.
So, but I think Roshan Johnson. I don't think he should be available in many leagues, but if he is, man, I'm
Stash
looking
him.
my yeah. You got
Yeah.
it. You got to pick up Roshan Johnson. Um, yeah, I might even argue he would be, my number one, maybe number two running back pickup if he's available. But I don't think he's available many places. Packers side of the ball, Jordan Love looked great. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, only took 1 sack. A little bit of that stat line was propped up by a long Aaron Jones pretty much screen pass that he took to the house. I think that was the play he got hurt on, if I'm remembering correctly. But and Jordan Love, great game with no Christian Watson. So, good to see. It's only going to get better for Jordan Love. He has a bunch of young receivers that he hasn't had a lot of time to mesh with. He has rookie Musgrave, rookie Jaden Reed, um, Romeo
Dobbs.
Dobbs' second year, Christian Watson's second
Two
year.
touchdowns for Dobbs too. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, oh, two for Dobbs? I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that. I thought he only had
Yeah.
one. Okay. Okay, let's do like a this or that like streamer question. So rest of year, Brock Purdy or Jordan Love?
Oh, man, that's tough actually. I think I want Love. I think I want like the we haven't seen a lot from him yet, so I think I'd rather have his upside there.
Yeah, I think they're really close. And I
Yeah.
think I'm with you. Like if you kind of want to take the safe route, it's definitely Purdy because the
Yeah.
offense is superior.
You know
Jordan
he's going to be
Love,
like 12, 13, 14 quarterback every week.
yeah.
Whereas Love could go anywhere from top quarterback to 32nd quarterback.
And Love has the ability to do it with the legs. Purdy is a
Yeah,
zero with the legs, right?
which is
So
why, yeah,
we don't think Love is, he's not Anthony Richardson, right? But he's shown that he will get outside the pocket and run every now and then. Yeah, and then both of our darling tight end, we talked about him in the sleeper show,
we did.
Luke Musgrave, and he showed out, man. 3 catches, 50 yards. He's rookie right away, week one. He's their tight end one. He has zero competition for snaps. He is him. So I think he's my
And
number one tight end pickup of the week.
yeah, and Watson out. You've got, you know, he's competing with the rookie Jaden, and then Dobbs. So he's going to be in there. He's going to get looks. He's going to get more opportunities. He's young, rookie, huge dude. That's the kind of athletic tight end you want to grab,
I think
especially with
Christian Watson.
how sparse the landscape is at tight end right now. Jump on somebody who's good.
I think Christian Watson coming back doesn't even hurt him. I mean,
Yeah,
because Christian Watson is a
different
low
times.
volume, big play guy. So but having his speed on the field is just going to open up the middle of the field for Musgrave even more.
Yeah,
Let's see here. Would you drop Miles Sanders for Joshua Kelly or Kyron Williams? No, I would
yeah.
not.
Miles Sanders is still the bell cow back there. That's tough one. Both of us have said we're not fans of Miles Sanders, but still,
Yeah, I mean, I kind of am, but I know you're definitely not. But nah, man. I mean, Miles Sanders he's not the bell cow running back because he didn't play on many third downs for the Panthers,
eh,
but
I mean,
I think he's
he
pretty
gets all the carries, most of the
he's
carries.
Miles Sanders is as close as it comes to being, a bell cow back. No, I'm just not. I mean, I'd like Joshua Kelly and I like Kyron Williams as pickups this week. If you had a J.K. Dobbins injury, I like both of them more than Justice Hill and Gus Edwards,
Yeah,
by far. But no, don't. This is what we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Don't overreact, Miles Sanders. I think by a landslide here for me at least.
agreed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and he said drop the like. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, thanks for joining us. We do this every Tuesday or Wednesday, recapping last week's games and talking about the upcoming week. We also have a Nickel City Mafia Discord where we talk fantasy football, answer questions on there, and yeah, appreciate you coming by. Hope to talk to you again soon. Big happy. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered Packers game. AJ Dillon, a little bit disappointing. I had him listed as like a buy low. I could see Dillon getting cut. I mean, he wasn't really like a high draft pick. He was like what, ninth, 10th, 11th round kind of guy, and people love to overreact.
He's got
So
those massive thighs. Come on.
dude, massive. So I mean, I think if AJ Dillon's dropped in your league, especially with Aaron Jones' potential injury, I haven't really had time today to look into many of the injuries, but I think AJ Dillon, man, if Aaron Jones ever misses time, and he is getting up there in age, I think AJ Dillon's he's a borderline RB1.
Yeah, has to be.
Yep.
We missed the game of the week. We got to get to Chargers Dolphins, man.
Yep. It's next. Here we go.
Crazy high scoring game.
So, yep, pretty much game of the week. Chargers Dolphins 36-34. Really cool game to watch. High flying action, and it was basically the Dolphins saying, "Look what I can do through the air," and it was the Chargers saying, "Look what I can do on the ground." Unreal. I mean, Eckler and Josh Kelly were both like, I think Eckler was like the running back 2 or 3, and Kelly was like running back 7 or 8.
It's
It was
crazy.
unreal. I mean, did you see that coming? Because Kellen Moore,
No.
I know Kellen Moore is like an upbeat, let's go quick, let's go no
Yeah.
huddle type of guy. But in Dallas, you kind of saw that more like through the air, not
Yeah.
like an up tempo running game. But Josh Kelly had a good preseason. There was a lot of people touting him as like the clear backup to Eckler, with Eckler getting up there in age, and they've kind of been searching for a couple years for a guy to step in and take some of the rushing load away from Eckler. So he had just as many carries as Eckler. So I mean,
And they're
what do you
saying
think?
Eckler's a little banged up too, so I
Hmm.
think he could. I mean, he could potentially be the number one waiver wire ad with like the way that offense is ticking and how they're using the run game. I mean, they each had 16 carries. I never would have guessed that. And
What's Eckler?
it
Ankle sprain?
um I didn't see the exact injuries. It just said minor, and it was like questionable. They didn't say
Yeah,
he's out or
ankle.
anything like that. But even even him being a little bit banged up and still playing just means Kelly might get the same use. If he gets the same usage, he's got to be the number one pickup. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. There's a couple running backs I like more than Kelly, but they're probably not available in your league. Like I like Algier a little bit more. Roshan Johnson I might like a little bit more.
Mm,
But Kelly I like more than Kyron Williams. I like him more than Justice Hill. So I mean, I definitely think he's a priority pickup. But yeah, man, Chargers doing it on the ground. I don't know that I've ever seen a game. This is so not Chargers, right?
yeah,
But brand new offensive coordinator, and yeah, it was cool to watch them just run at will on the Dolphins. The Dolphins defense looked god awful. So
yeah. And we thought they're
that's
gonna be off on the air. They're missing one of the top corners in the league, and we thought the air was when people would go after him. And just man, I couldn't believe it. But then talk about the air on the other side, and Tyreek Hill is gonna break wide receiver records this year, man.
he called it, didn't he? He said he was going to have 2,000 receiving
Yep,
yards, and
he's on his
yeah,
way.
he's on pace. We'll just say that.
Well on pace.
Well on pace. Yeah, the way that the Chargers were guarding him was just almost just disrespectful. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know why you line up and press someone, but then you don't touch them and you just let them run right by you. I mean, it was egregious the way that they were choosing to guard Tyreek Hill. So I think maybe some of those plays were just like absolutely gifted to him, but you can tell the whole offense just runs through him and no sign of slowing down. Is he okay? So he was drafted pretty clearly as wide receiver 3, right? I'm behind Jefferson and Chase.
yep.
I think, can we agree that he's ahead of Chase?
Yeah, I think, I mean, after this game, you might have to put him ahead of Jefferson too. It's if they just keep doing this, keep throwing the ball. Now he's got Waddle there, who's a talent, and I gotta say Waddle's a huge buy for me this week. I think if somebody is low on him, which he didn't have a bad game, he just didn't
Hmm.
have an amazing game. He's still
Right.
what 4 for 78, so 11, 12 ish points,
Yeah,
like half
they'll
PPR, a little
probably
less.
they'll probably pass back and forth. Who has a
Yeah,
better week? I think Waddle will outproduce Hill 5 or 6 weeks this year, at minimum.
I don't know. After this game, man, it could just be the Tyreek Hill show, and Waddle gets a little bit of it. I just think one of the big points I read about in this offseason was like last year Tyreek didn't really understand the offense, and he said it himself. I think in a couple of interviews, he was like, "I get the playbook way more now, and
Hmm.
that's why I'm going to put up 2,000 yards this year." And I wish I'd had the number 3 pick in a bunch of different redrafts this year, so I could have taken him because I think he's gonna just blow everybody out of the water.
Right. So, what do you take about that backfield? I mean, I know there
Most
was.
starts hurt now. I
Is
liked
he?
him. Yeah, they're saying he's hurt. Everybody's hurt, man.
Now, why am I completely blanking on their rookie that they had this year?
Devon A. Chain, he was
Yeah,
ruled out for the last game
but
due to
was it a
injury.
healthy scratch?
No, it
No.
wasn't a healthy scratch. He was injured,
Okay.
and they weren't sure if he was going to play, and they ruled him out at the last second. So, because it was like he wasn't sure if they were going to play, maybe he's back this week. But it's another one where like who knows? What's,
So
who knows who's going to be the starting running back there?
so Jeff
Salvon Ahmed, like
Jeff Wilson's on IR, so he can't come back till
Yes.
week 5.
Yep.
If Mostert misses this week and A Chain really had a chance of playing last week, man, like I think A Chain's like probably a must start. I mean, Salvan Ahmed is just a guy. I mean, he's been
Yeah.
on that team for what, like 3 or 4 years now and never really done anything. So yeah, I'm gonna be really big on A Chain. Probably a great DFS play. If A Chain plays, he'll probably be super chalky if he's the starting running back. Yeah.
They could just air it out again.
Hmm.
It could just be the Tyreek Waddle show again. We didn't talk about either. Smythe got some looks. He got, what, 7 targets, 3 receptions. So it's another younger tight end to worth a
He's their
look anyway.
he's their starter, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they don't have an
They got rid
actual.
of Jaceki because they never used him.
They got rid of Gasecki. They got rid of
Yeah.
Hunter Long, who they had on their team for a few years. I mean, Durham Smythe is their guy. So I mean, starting tight end, probably the number 3 receiving option, on a team that just threw for 466 yards. I mean, count me in. It's crazy how like we're talking so badly about the tight end, um, kind of where the tight ends are at, but we've already named like tons of ones that we just love on the waiver wire.
Yeah, they all have shots to do something, and they're cheap. The only problem is a
For,
lot of these Titans we're naming, they could have 0 games.
mhm. Okay, so trade question for you: if you have Joe Burrow, do you trade him for Tua?
For Tua, oh man, I think I would still hold on to Joe. I think it's one bad game. Whereas Tua, you still have the concussion issues going on and stuff, and I still
Good
want Joe.
answer. Don't
I
trade for
agree.
points that already happened.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't get the ones that already happened, which a lot of
I
people.
understand valuing Tua way up after this game. He went crazy, and he's got
Mhm.
crazy weapons there. But he's not quite that. I think, is he higher than where you drafted him? Yes, for sure after
Mhm.
this game. But he's not that high yet.
Agree. Cool. Well, okay. On to our last game. So Nickel City Mafia channel. We'll talk about your hometown Bills. Just a crazy, unfortunate, wild Monday night football game.
Dude, what happened to
Um,
Josh Allen, man?
let's answer this question first before we get into this game because I think we're gonna have a lot to
Yes.
say.
Yeah.
So, who would you rather have for the rest of the season, Sanders or Connor? What do you
I
think?
feel like you know my answer to this one already. But
You're gonna take James Conner.
yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not a
So,
Sanders fan.
I know you're really not. Um, so, what did James Conner do in week 1? He
Well,
did
he
all
had
right.
my Washington D, so that's a tough D to go up against.
He had 5 catches, 62 rushing yards. Did Miles Sanders really?
See,
Why
the
do we have so
catches
many?
where you want.
Why do we have so many Miles Sanders questions? Did he do that bad? I don't think he did.
No,
I
he
think,
did. He put up like 70 some yards, and then he caught, I think, 4 passes. I want to say.
dude,
It wasn't like an
that's
amazing
that's
showing.
Studley. That's Studley.
Yeah,
Miles.
I guess. I mean, Connor put up 60 yards and had 5 catches.
So Enrique, this is funny that you asked this question because I'm not going to say I'm like a Miles Sanders stan, but I like Miles Sanders so much more than Jeremy, and Jeremy likes Jeremy Connor so much more than me.
James Connor.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a really funny question that you asked that.
That's very true.
We're on polar opposites on that one. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think James Conner's not going to stay healthy for the whole year. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a toss up. Sometimes you just have to go with the guy that you'd rather have on your team. I think they're
Yeah.
very similar.
Here's a good question because I know your answer for this one. Your
Swift
answer
predictions for
is
tomorrow.
Gainwell.
Gainwell's out.
Ah, I
Ruled
forgot he
out.
was ruled out. Oh, I knew he was a little banged up. I know he was out.
Swift predictions for tomorrow. I know it's entirely speculative at this point, but I'm wondering your thoughts. So do we
I guess
think
Penny's
Rashad
gonna play.
do we think he was a healthy scratch, or did they say he was a healthy scratch, or
They
was
said
it an
healthy
injury?
scratch. I thought it said healthy
Okay.
scratch. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what it said.
Okay.
It's
I'm,
Swift is tough, right? Because like, do you start him if you have him?
so my I know he said speculative. I think here's what I think. I think that DeAndre Swift will not score the most points for an Eagles running back tomorrow. I think it's going to be Boston Scott
I was
or
gonna say
Rashad Penny.
fucking Boston Scott
Dude,
again.
is there not a week
God,
that
the
just
man
screams Boston Scott more than this?
comes from the dead. every year to have like a
And
blow up
scores.
game.
He'll
And
have like
I
a
do think it's going to be a fun Thursday night game, right? Vikings, Eagles.
high
I
scoring.
mean, just Jefferson and Addison going against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. It's I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch. I I could see Swift going off. He just I don't know. You know, like you said, it could be Boston Scott. The Eagles can't seem to keep one guy just going crazy. They like to switch it around. So it's hard to start. It's hard to start DeAndre Swift.
Let me see, man. So DeAndre Swift had one freaking carry,
Yeah,
and he had one reception on two targets. I mean, and they only gave up what, like a fourth or fifth round pick for him. He's obviously just not the guy that we thought he was 2 or 3 years ago. He's just not. And again, in our sleeper show that we did, Kenneth Gainwell, I was freaking all in on Kenneth Gainwell,
yeah.
because I heard rumors that Rashad Penny might even be cut. He was a healthy scratch week one. Gainwell was their guy all along. They just never showed their hand. And he had 14 carries and 4 catches in the first week. Gainwell is their guy. And Swift, I don't think they're gonna take him from no role whatsoever and then make him the guy in this game. I think that there's probably 30 other running backs I'd rather start than DeAndre Swift this week.
Yeah, I think we'll see Hurts doing his thing and run around. We'll see a lot of passing, and we'll see them, switch who carries the ball around with between a bunch of different guys. And Swift
Three
will be
different
one of those
guys.
guys. Maybe he falls in the end zone, and then like you get lucky that way.
I
But
think he'll have
I
more than
wouldn't
one
count on him.
carry, and I think he'll have more than one catch, but I don't think
Yeah,
he'll have more than 10 touches. Just
yeah,
don't. So, yeah, I think you have to be in a pretty dire situation to start DeAndre Swift until you see something more. And that's saying a lot, given that Penny was a no dress and Gainwell's hurt, and we still don't want to touch Swift. I mean, we've really. We've really come a long way, right? I mean, he was people were saying he was like dynasty RB1 or 2, like
yep.
18 months ago, right? It wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't.
Crazy. Okay.
So
Okay.
Bills, Jets, 75 seconds. That's how long Aaron Rodgers wore a Jets uniform.
Crazy. Do you think there's any chance he just up and retires?
I guess depends how bad the tear is, right? I
It's
don't
full
know.
full
He
tear.
seems like a pretty. I mean, like right how bad the rehab on it and stuff. He seems like a pretty competitive guy. I think he'll try to come back. The Jets have said Zach Wilson is their guy.
Don't
I
believe that.
listened to a no, I don't know. I listened to a report. Actually, it was RG3 talking about it, and I think he said some pretty interesting things where he was like to try and bring in either himself or someone else who used to be a quarterback to come and learn that system. It's not realistic when Zach Wilson has years of years plural of experience with that offense. He's just got to be the guy, and he also not just years of experience. He's got that camaraderie with the players. He's got those connections, which you saw a little bit of that night, right? And he wasn't. I thought he was going to come in and just be horrible, and he wasn't. Although I did want to talk to you real quick. Did you see that Garrett Wilson touchdown?
No.
Okay, it was a Garrett Wilson pick because it should have been an interception, and he picked it away from the
From
defender.
the guy.
He tipped it to himself from the guy. Like it was going. It was a horrible pass going to the guy. He tipped it to himself and made the touchdown.
I don't know, man.
Man's
I
amazing.
don't think Zach Wilson. I went to bed at like the start of the fourth quarter, but I don't think Wilson looked all that good. He didn't show much confidence. He wasn't really pressing the ball down the field, and I think that New York being New York, and with this roster being constructed the way it is, and the fact that they're 1-0, beating a division team that's a Super Bowl favorite, I think you cannot sit on and use Zach Wilson. I don't think you can do it. New
So
York
Tom
media
Brady.
won't let it happen. No,
Give me
man.
the
It's
ultimate middle finger if he came
no.
back and played for the Jets.
Guess who it's gonna be?
Oh, who?
Joe Flacco.
I was waiting for you to say Flacco. I almost said Flacco before you said it. I was
Yeah,
waiting for the Flacco.
yeah. So
Oh man,
yeah, Joe Cool, baby, put
he
him
he
back in.
knows the offense.
I'm just
He would
saying.
be great for Garrett Wilson. I'd be happy for that. I
So
like Garrett
actually,
Wilson.
I said that sort of as a joke, but you know what I think would have been the perfect situation here that is now probably not an option? think of who their head coach is. Robert Saleh. Where'd he come
Yeah.
from? San Francisco. Who did San Francisco just trade?
Yeah.
Trey Lance.
That he probably
That would
knows
have
that
been
Trey Lance
good.
is worthless.
What? No, but that would have been perfect. That would have been
Uh,
perfect. I mean, like, okay, so you spent all the money on Rodgers. You don't have much cap, right? You can't lure Brady out because it would cost a lot of money. Trey Lance got bought for like what a fifth round pick. So
yeah.
it's like if the Jets could trade a fifth round pick for someone who makes $3 million a year and has at least some sort of upside, dude, like all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. I don't. I can actually see the Jets because Salah was part of the team that drafted Trey Lance. I can see them now reaching out to the Cowboys and be like, "Hey, listen, like you spent a fifth on him, I'll give you a third, and you just made money for nothing, right?"
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
I just
that's
don't think he
there.
learns the offense. I don't think there's enough time and there's
Kyle Shanahan's kind of a dick, right? I mean, he wants perfection, and maybe
ah,
Trey Lance just isn't that, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. The first thing I thought of was like, oh my God, if Trey Lance was still on the 49ers, I think that's their answer. But I think Dallas is they have no reason to give him up. They got him so cheap.
Yeah, I think they're gonna stick with Wilson. I think they will. They
Yes,
said that. I think they'll do it.
I saw Tom Brady rumors. I don't believe that. I saw
No,
Philip
I was
Rivers
just
rumors,
joking.
and then no, but did see things that they reached out
Yeah.
to Tom
Oh,
Brady.
everyone's photoshopping Tom Brady into a Jets jersey right now. It's
Yeah,
all over the internet. Yeah. But other than that, Brees Hall is still amazing.
dude.
Uh,
Did
just a
you watch some
bomb.
of the game?
I did some of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you watch the Manning cast?
A
Oh,
little. It's tough. All right, those guys are funny and I like them, but it's tough to watch that for too long because it's a little
yeah,
ridiculous.
I agree. It's kind of cool for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I want to
Uh,
hear the actual like play by play.
yes.
But it was funny. I forget which Manning brother said it, but like when Brees Hall broke his first big run, they were like, "Oh man, he's out of shape." That was their comment.
Ah.
But it's
Oh.
like, man, I mean, Brees Hall looked so good, and
Yes.
I mean, we can all be honest. We thought that Brees Hall was going to be like a league winner, but not till like week 8, 9, 10, when he was like, we thought we were going to ease him in, right?
Yeah, I thought like
Yeah,
3 to 5 weeks. So like maybe after 3 weeks, he's back to 100%, but he's there.
he had, almost as many carries as Dalvin Cook and 4 times as many yards, with two just absolutely huge explosive runs, one being 83 yards. So, yeah, man, all in on Brees Hall. I will say I kind of agree with he looked like he was missing a gear, but that's going to come with time.
Yeah.
In a month from now, he'll have that extra gear. Um, it's just so funny how all of the trade questions are like the same guys this week. I have like
Yeah.
I'm really curious to why. Okay, so let's see. Yes, big man, thanks for the question. We do this every week on Tuesday or Wednesday. If you want to stop by and ask questions, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Feel free to stop in whenever and ask us questions. So, would you trade Sutton and James Conner for Pickens and Kyron Williams? What do you think, Jeremy?
I think I like Pickens better than Sutton, but I think James Conner just has a much better role than Kyron Williams does, and I'm going to stick with Sutton and James Conner on this one.
Maybe counter Sutton for Pickens because I think Jeremy and I both like Pickens a lot better than Sutton.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably won't. The team probably won't accept that, but I'm with Jeremy. Kyron Williams. I don't want to say he's like a flash in the pan because he looked better than Akers by a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Connor just has. You're gonna get 10, 12, 13 weeks of like running back to production. So
It seems like this guy's trying to buy low on Connor. He's hoping you like don't
mhm.
get that he's going to bounce
I think
back and just be
he's
good.
I think he's trying to dupe you a little bit. Although I do really like Pickens a lot more than Sutton. I think is a I think Pickens is a great buy right now. Okay.
I
So
don't really have anybody else on the Jets to talk about because I feel like it's Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, the end for the Jets.
I have someone on the Jets to talk
Oh,
about, and you just said
all
his
right.
name, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to say this, man. I'm selling Garrett.
No. He's
You
still
have
good
to.
though.
You have to. You have to.
No.
You have to.
I think he'll just make ways.
why are you gonna put yourself through that torture?
He'll make ways to score. Like he's just that talented.
Mm-mm.
Plus, what are you
Uh,
selling him for? People know that he's got Zach Wilson throwing to him now.
so what?
That's my other problem I have.
Okay, so let's think about. Okay, let me see who I would sell Garrett Wilson for. I would sell Garrett Wilson for
Not for Pickens. We can go there.
no, not even close.
Yeah,
No, no,
okay,
no. I'm
that's
not
what I'm
going that low.
saying.
No, 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 no. Calm down, calm down. No, I would sell Garrett Wilson for.
There you go. We'll do a little this or that. I'll give you a few here.
Oh
Zay
yeah, give me.
Flowers.
No, but it's
No.
close.
Okay.
But it's close.
Um, T. Higgins.
No, but it's also very close.
Okay. Okay. See, that's Ayuk.
Yes.
You would for Ayuk. Okay, that's
Hmm.
reasonable. Ayuk had an awesome game. How about Waddle?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would too for Waddle. I wouldn't for Ayuk. For Waddle, I would. Um, what about another San Fran Debo?
No.
No. Okay. Devontae Smith.
Man, you're giving me hard ones.
I know.
Uh,
These are all like in the same kind of area where
yeah, yeah.
his points are projected.
Yes, Devontae Smith.
You would.
Hmm.
That'd be tough for me. I think I love Wilson. I think I stick with Wilson.
Chris Olave, yes.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would at this point Olave because of the quarterback situation
Calvin
for
Ridley.
sure. Yeah, Ridley. Yeah, I would take Ridley. Yes, the man
Ridley.
is,
I mean, so
is,
we're
is
naming
awesome.
players here that were drafted 1, 2, 3 rounds after Garrett Wilson.
Okay, but now after Ridley just blew up, his value has
No,
gone
but
up.
I'm just saying these are the
Yeah.
kind of like active decisions you have to
Yes.
think about. Is
Yeah.
like you can't get stuck on like, oh, I drafted Garrett Wilson 16th overall. Midway
Yeah.
through the second round. You know, Calvin Ridley went in the fourth round. So, but like, it's obvious now. Calvin Ridley, I think everyone would like him better rest of season,
Yeah.
unless the
I
Jets
agree.
trade for a quarterback.
Yeah.
You
I
know what
agree.
would be a cool trade? And now I can't stop thinking about Jets quarterbacks. If now let's say the Vikings just want to punt the season.
They're never
Kirk,
trading Captain Kirk.
you don't think
No, their
he
team's
just
too
keeps getting
good.
1 year contract? Yeah,
Their team's too good. They're
are
not
they
trading.
good? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess they're good. Okay,
All right, let's swap over to the Bills then.
okay.
For I know there's a lot of Bills fans out there, and I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what happened. I don't know if
Did
Josh Allen knows what happens. I don't know if
Josh
anybody
Allen?
knows what happened.
All he had to do in the second half was just limit it to 1 turnover instead of the 3 that he had. I think he had 3 in the second half.
It was so frustrating
Why?
to watch. Like just like
Why
a
was he
team that should be
trying?
doing
Why was he
so
trying
good.
so hard? Yeah,
I will say our Maryland boy looked good though.
Stephon Diggs.
Shout out to Stephon Diggs. The guy is just immensely talented.
And he's ageless, man. I was a little
Yeah,
bit worried he was going to start to slow down this year. Nah.
dude's just great.
He's outstanding.
He's always talked about as one of the best route runners
Oh
out
no,
there, and he is.
Jake. Oh no.
Yeah, it makes us all sad, bud. Nobody likes the Jets. Come on.
I know. Come on. I mean, I don't often root for the Bills, but I never root for the Jets.
I mean, the
So
Jets fans have to spell out their own team name just so they remember how it's spelled. Come on.
yeah, you never hear a chant that goes
Yeah,
Bills.
I know. Come on.
Yeah,
I will
Jake.
say a
So
bright spot besides Stiggs, James Cook got all the work. And
yeah, I mean,
he's another buy candidate for me, huge buy candidate because he didn't score a lot of fantasy points, but he got all the work. He got receiving work. He got all the carries. He seems like he's their guy.
yeah. Damian Harris, who everyone was kind of so worried about, that was going to take, the in between the 20s,
Yeah,
work and then the goal line work. One carry. He is not
yeah,
a part of their offense as it
big deal.
stands right now. And this was a neutral game script, right? I mean, this is something we should have seen Damian Harris, get some work. What I'm interested to see is like the kind of the first game where they're up by 10, 14 points if they do ride Harris. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, James Cook, I mean, if you drafted him, you definitely got a value. He looks good.
Yeah, Jake, you missed us talking about Zay Flowers. We both love him. He's gonna just continue to go crazy. You know, Chris has probably already bought a jersey online that's arriving tomorrow.
I do not have a Zay Flowers jersey yet.
Yet.
I do not.
Yeah,
But
Steve Smith
man,
2.0.
yeah, I think he's like, people were comparing him to Steve Smith. He's just like a touch smaller. He's like, maybe an inch shorter and 10, 15 pounds less. But the way that he moves, he has that Antonio Brown movement to him. So he's like, plays like a mix between, to me, Antonio Brown and Steve Smith. But yeah, man. Kincaid, I think,
Another bright star.
pleasantly
Thanks, Jake.
surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah.
married now. It's done.
Yeah, so Kincaid, it was cool to watch him, play so many snaps like in the slot. Dawson Knox got his too, but I think 10 out of 10 people will agree that Kincaid's a better fantasy option moving forward. So yeah,
I
definitely
mean,
much,
getting
much,
equal
much higher
targets with Knox is big. Sometimes they like to
in
ease the
game
rookies
one.
in,
Yeah,
especially with a veteran like Knox who gets targets regularly, gets red zone targets regularly. For Kincaid to get 4 receptions, share targets with them, it's a big deal, and it's hopefully only going to get better for Kincaid.
yeah, for sure. Um, Kind of what we didn't see in this game, and I think it's a good thing. We did not see a wide receiver three kind of emerge for Buffalo, which to me, I like that because I
Yeah,
have a lot of Kincaid, and I think Kincaid's wide receiver three. So, or maybe even wide receiver two, right?
I was
So
gonna say the wide receiver too. I guess is Gabe Davis.
I'm
But
a big
even
Gabe
he
Davis
only had
guy.
two
I
receptions.
will, I will never give up on Gabe Davis.
No, I'm not. I don't. I think I have zero Gabe Davis this year.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Diggs, and then I'm hoping it's Kincaid. I guess.
His one game in the playoffs that one year when he went like
Yeah, three
bananas for like
touchdowns.
200 yards and three touchdowns. That just
It was
I've been
cool.
hard ever since. So I can't.
You and the rest of Bills Nation, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
cool,
I
man. Yeah,
will
so
say, like, if you have Bills players on your team, like if you got these big guys, Josh Allen, if you have Gabe Davis, if you have, don't panic, James Cook, don't panic on like a bad game. It was a really bad game for the Bills. They played a very good Jets defense, and it's not going to happen every week. They're going to bounce back. The Bills are still going to be one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they're going to look like it, going forward.
let's do a little Josh Allen buy low scenario here. If you have Tua, do you offer for Josh Allen?
Would anybody take that? I mean, definitely you should. If you have
Okay.
Tua, definitely try to trade him for Josh Allen and see if somebody just like thinks Josh Allen is done because that would be an amazing trade.
So okay. So what if you have T Law? Would you offer him for Josh Allen?
Yeah.
Still. So
Oh yeah.
pretty much
Still.
you still have him firmly in the top three after this
Yep.
game. None of these other quarterbacks, T Law, um, yeah, I guess no one else really showed out. There was kind of a bad week for quarterbacks too. So
They get
yeah,
the Raiders next week. They'll turn around. He's gonna
if
come out.
anyone has soured on Josh Allen and you can, package together a Tua and one of these, people you just picked up on waivers that, is nice, I guess. But if you can turn Tua and some trash into Josh Allen, or if you can turn Anthony Richardson and some trash into Josh Allen, I think these are strategies that we're going to want to do. So, yeah, use this as a buy low opportunity for the good old gunslinger Josh. I think that's a good idea.
It makes me want to try it somewhere.
I
See what
know.
happens. Why
I just
not? If
came
I
up with
got
that
Tua,
idea
I
like,
think I got Trevor Lawrence on a team somewhere. Let me try it and see if somebody wants it.
yeah, thanks, Mike. Hope your show went well. Thanks for coming to join us. Okay, so we went through all of our games. We're at an hour and 20 minutes, so we'll probably try to finish up here in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah. Do
Let's
some
just go
quick
through,
waiver wires or
yeah, go through waivers real quick. Um, okay, so to me, QB waiver wire is probably pretty stale in one QB leagues. Is there anyone that you have your eye on or you might want to add?
in one QB. No, I feel you and I talked about our strategy. Is sometimes just like you pick your starter and you stick with them until you need to bring somebody in for a bye week. So for one QB leagues, save your bench spot. Use it for one of these guys we're going to tell you about in a little bit.
Yeah, I would say, if you have any of those top, 12 to 14 QBs, stick with your guy. If you kind of set up like a streaming strategy, I think Purdy and Jordan Love are nice ads. So
Sure.
if you have two QBs that neither of them are very good, like you have kind of like a Daniel Jones and someone else, I think that someone else should be Purdy or Jordan Love. Okay, so on to running backs. Yeah, list a couple guys that you're after this week, and let's try to figure out an order that we're going to go after these guys because you probably only have room to really add one of them, maybe two.
Yeah, we talked about a bunch earlier. So Joshua Kelly over on the Chargers. Eckler maybe a little bit hurt. We're not sure. Even if he's not, they like almost split the work. It was crazy. Kyron Williams over on the Rams just looked better than Cam Akers. Again, getting a lot of work there. Those are two guys top of my list. And then if you want to take your pick of the Ravens, Justice Hill or Gus Edwards, you and I both said we like Justice Hill better. I picked him up in a couple. I think that's all I had. Oh, I have one last one. Tahi Spears. He got used a little bit more than everyone expected for Tennessee.
Hmm. He had more snaps than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, exactly. So he's like a kind of a sneaky ad that not everyone might be picking up if you've got some space and just want to stash him. See what happens.
Yeah, I agree with that. So if you had to only pick up one, um, Josh Kelly or Kyron Williams, and why?
So I will say I already made the mistake of taking Justice Hill over both of them, and I'm sad I did that. I know. I'm sad I did that. On second choice here. I think I'm going Joshua Kelly in like the very small chance that Eckler doesn't play, he could just go off next week and you're immediately starting him. So I've got him just a
Yeah,
little more over Kyron.
yeah, I think Kelly is interesting for the near term because if
Yeah,
Eckler, if he does have that high ankle sprain, they
yeah,
might try to hold him out for a few weeks. Because I believe they have a week 5 bye, the Chargers do.
yeah.
So it's easy to hold people out and just say, come back week 6. So Josh Kelly, I think, is intriguing for, if you have near term help that you need. Kyron Williams, I will say, I think there's a chance he's just their guy. Cam Akers has kind of continuously been in McVay's doghouse. I think the talent is undeniable. I think the guy's just a bit of a psycho, and I don't know. I mean, something's off there, right? I mean,
Yeah, I
there
don't
was
know.
even a stretch last year that he just was healthy scratch, like, get out of here. So I don't know. I think Kyron Williams is kind of an interesting stab to like actually just be the starter.
Yeah,
He got much more work in the passing game, and he didn't have more carries than Cam Akers, but he did more with them. He scored 2 touchdowns. So yeah, I think kind of depends what you're after. If you need someone that could play and produce well these next couple weeks, I think Josh Kelly's safer. If you kind of want to shoot for like, man, maybe I will hit that starter, I think Kyron has a probably a better chance of being like the long term guy. Because Josh Kelly's just not, right? I mean, Eckler's there. But we like them both comfortably over Justice Hill.
yeah.
But I will also say, if you're in a league that for some reason didn't draft Tyler Algier, I think I like him more than everyone.
hmm
Yep.
Got a quick question here for another trade.
Okay. So let's see here. Would you trade Ramondre Stevenson, and Kirk for Debo and Rashad White?
Is this a one quarterback league? Because in that case, I think I'd go Debo Rashad White here. You're getting two starters.
Wait, Kirk, that's Christian Kirk.
Oh, Christian
Is
Kirk.
it
Yeah,
Christian Kirk or Captain Kirk?
it must be Christian Kirk. I would think. And Christian Kirk, man, he's in the gutter right now. That's kind of close actually. Oh, two QB. He's saying.
Wait,
So it must be Captain Kirk.
is it Captain Kirk or Christian Kirk? He didn't answer us yet.
It must be Captain Kirk. In which case, I'd like Stevenson and Captain Kirk for two
Oh,
QBs.
it's
Oh, it's
Christian
Christian Kirk.
Kirk. So it
Ah,
doesn't matter how many QBs it is. All right, so it's Christian Kirk. So Debo greater than Christian Kirk. Fact.
yeah. And Stevenson
Stevenson
better than
greater
Rashad
than
White.
Rashad White, but maybe like not by leaps and bounds. All right,
Yeah.
man. I think it's an even trade. I mean,
I think it's pretty even. I would probably. I mean, we both like Stevenson a lot. And it's hard to give away a player you like a lot. But Kirk doesn't seem like he's going to be worth much this year. So I can see trying to get rid of him.
I think it's an even trade, so I would just say like if a trade's even, like why even do it? But if I had to lean aside, I'm just gonna go with the best player in the trade, and that's Ramondre Stevenson. Okay. So on to thanks for the question, 24 gang. If
Yeah,
you don't
I was also
mind
saying
liking the
Pitts for Evan Ingram.
oh yeah,
I
I
think
see
I'd
another
still.
trade.
That's a tough one. I think I might do it, man. I'm really concerned to see Atlanta come out and just give Pitts and Drake London nothing, absolutely nothing. That's so. I know they did it last year too, but I just thought things were going to change a little bit.
I think this is a definite yes. I mean, not in
Okay.
Dynasty, but in season long, I think you
Yeah.
have to do this because
Redraft, just do it.
Evan Ingram wasn't really drafted that far after Kyle Pitts, right? I mean, Kyle Pitts was kind of like the tight end six, seven. Ingram was like the tight end nine, right? So I don't think there's that flagrant of a difference even at the beginning of the season. And Jacksonville looks like they're going to air it out, and Atlanta just looks like they want to take the air out of the ball and run it 40 times a game. So let's not be stubborn here. I love Kyle Pitts. I love his talent. I like him in Dynasty still. On the off chance, like they're going to have to upgrade their QB situation at some point. So I'm not off Pitts in Dynasty yet, but in season long, I like Ingram more.
Yeah, you just Ingram is going to be solid for you, and Pitts is going to put up zeros. Unfortunately, it sucks, but
Yeah.
I'm with it. Just do it. Grab Ingram. Go for it. Were we on to wide receivers next?
Yeah, wide receiver waivers. I guess the real question on wide receiver waivers is Tapuka or not Tapuka. Um, there's been
I've
some
told you my opinion. We're pukaing.
we're
Is that a new
puking,
verb?
yeah. We're
Pukaing.
dan we're
That's what's
dancing
going on.
the
The
puka polka.
puka. Let's throw it
Yeah,
in.
so
I like
so
taking a
so
bet on a rookie.
so how in are you? Are you with $100 fab situation, are you spending 40?
Probably close. Probably between 30 or 40. Especially if you need a wideout, I think it's great. And like I said, I'm starting him next week in a couple leagues. I just, I
Against
think
the
with
49ers.
Cup is still out. Why not? Man, you completed both trades already. Okay. Yeah, see, we don't hate either of those two trades, man. Like I said, we love the Ingram one, and the other one I think is a fair trade. So good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
But yeah, what about what are your thoughts on Puka? I know you're not starting him next week, but picking him up.
I think that if you happen to draft him, I think you trade like if some I think a lot of people are going to the waiver wire excited to put in a bid for Puka. So I think if he was on your team already, I think he's a sell because I think there's two or three people out there that are willing to just pay not whatever, but they're willing to overpay for him right now. So
Like
I
me.
think he's a sell if you already have him. I'm not going crazy to add him, but I've thrown some bids in for him, but I'm not overdoing it.
Yeah. Okay. A couple other quick names I had were Rasheed Rice, if he's available for Kansas City, is
Caught a touchdown.
worth a
Yeah.
stab. Yep. We talked about Zay Jones for Jacksonville. He's probably not available, but if he is, definitely grab because he's
Yep.
getting the start over Kirk in a lot of those two wide receiver sets. And then I've got Rashid Shaheed on New Orleans. Something happens to Michael Thomas, he's right there as the number two. He's getting plays as number three, but he's still getting looks. He's still getting catches. He's definitely worth a grab. That's kind of all I have in the wide receiver
Cool.
front.
Yeah. I mean, you said Zay Jones off my list. Rashid Shaheed is he's a good player, man. I mean, he was great last year on like a per touch basis. The guy is just absolute track star, electric with the ball in his hands. And they do have Olave, they do have Michael Thomas who looked fine, but I think the New Orleans offense is a little bit underrated. I mean, Derek Carr's an upgrade at quarterback, dare I say? I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like Shaheed. I'm with you on Zay Jones. I don't think he's available many places, but I would take him over the Puka. Um, and then two other guys I like a lot. Nico Collins, just loved the usage out of him. I liked him. I I have him on a lot of teams already. I think he's the clear cut number one on that team. A team that's I can't believe how many times they threw the ball. Right, I thought they were just going
Yep.
to kind of run it and protect their rookie QB a little bit, but nah, man, they threw it a lot. So Nico Collins, I'm in on, and then the pair of Pittsburgh receivers, Calvin Austin and Allen Robinson. Um, I don't like that I like Allen Robinson more than Calvin Austin because I just think Allen Robinson has just sucked for like 4 or 5 years
Washed.
in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But he
he's
got a bunch of
washed.
receptions and targets.
Yeah, and Deontay Johnson's probably gonna miss 3, 4, 5 weeks. I don't know. If you want to play it safe, Allen Robinson. If you want to shoot for it, Calvin Austin. I mean, Calvin Austin didn't play last year, I don't think. I think he kind of got hurt and missed the whole year, but super electric player out of Memphis. Kind of reminds me of like a bargain bin Zay Flowers, a little bit. So yeah, big on him.
And the
Okay.
Steelers do well with training and bringing up young wide receivers. They've always
Yep.
done a good
They're
job
the
with that.
best.
So
The
yeah.
absolute best. Yep. So okay. On to tight ends. Yeah, absolute graveyard for tight ends this
you
week.
you fire away here.
I mean, like we said at the beginning of the show, there was two tight ends that scored more than 10 half PPR points, which is like it has to be a world record, right?
Yeah.
So, most people are probably unhappy with what happened in their tight end, and there's probably going to be a lot of tight end transactions that happen. Um, my two favorite of people that I think are going to be available are Luke Musgrave for Green Bay and Sam Laporta for Detroit. So I know they're both rookies. I know everyone says, "How dare you ever start a rookie tight end because they don't produce?" Well, guess what? You're wrong because now they do. And both of these guys were the clear cut number ones on their offense. Both of their offense looked good, and I'm not going to shy away from them. You like either of those guys? And who else do you like?
I think Laporta might be not always available, but if he is, definitely grab him. We talked about Hunter Henry as an option. I know he's not your favorite, but he's an if you need somebody, he's an option. And then Smythe on Miami, another option. That again isn't one that exciting option, but those are kind
So,
of what's there right now.
if you're a Travis Kelsey owner, would would you take Noah Gray, or would you rather have Musgrave or Hunter
Musgrave,
Henry? Musgrave
yeah,
over Noah Gray. Okay, yeah,
yeah,
me
and
too.
Hunter Henry, yeah. We didn't see Gray do anything last week, so
You know what's
yeah,
funny, and I think it's just like human nature. Like, so I have Dobbins on a couple dynasty teams, and so I moved him to IR, and I instantly go to the waiver wire and look to see if Justice Hill's there. But I'm
yeah,
like, but why? Just because he's on the same team? Like, you can also just get a different running back, right?
yeah.
So it's funny that like everyone that had Kelsey was like, oh, I gotta go get Noah Gray. It's like, well, no,
See,
I have
I
a
went
couple
and
leagues.
took Isaiah Likely, and then he put up big fat zeros for me,
Yeah,
so that did
exactly.
not help me at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the leagues that I had Kelsey, I picked up Musgrave, so that I guess worked out
nice.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Another
Let me
quick
see.
question here: Nahi on the waiver wire. Should he attempt to get Nahi by dropping Rashad White? I think
Man,
I would take
you
Nahi over Rashad White.
but can I
What
ask
do you
why
think?
you don't like this must be a super shallow
Maybe
league
it's
where
maybe it's really shallow league. They don't have big benches. You never know. If there's somebody else you can drop, you should keep Rashad White. But if that's
yeah,
really
well,
your only
yeah,
like, if
why
you have
don't you
if you have a second quarterback in a one QB league, drop the quarterback and get Nahi.
yeah,
If you have a
Richard, why don't
second
you
tight end in a one tight end league,
tell
drop
us
drop the
the
tight end.
bottom four players on your roster that you also have
Yeah,
on your bench. If you have two tight ends or two QBs, or you have like an extra defense, you got to drop them. I mean,
yeah.
I think I lean Najee over Rashad White, but I don't
It
want to
is
drop Rashad
close.
White.
Yeah,
Rashad White
yeah.
was he was the guy week one. I mean,
Yep.
Chase Edmonds, I don't think did much of anything.
I mean, Rashad White
And
unfortunately didn't do a ton either, but
but
he's the guy there.
he got the
Yeah,
touches that were available.
exactly.
So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, if Najee's on the waiver wire, that's ridiculous. You should definitely. I don't know. I might spend close to all my fab if I can
Yeah,
add Najee.
right. Yeah.
But
Also,
yeah,
Sean Tucker is the clear number two in Tampa Bay.
yeah,
So another
yeah,
a deep stash. You're like in a really deep league. Sean
Hmm.
Tucker's available. Put him on the end of your bench.
Yeah, he was undrafted player. Sean Tucker probably would have been like a second or third round draft pick. He had an injury concern that, I guess a lot of teams, well, 32 teams thought maybe he would never play football again. Um, so he went undrafted. Super athletic kid. And I guess he's passing his medicals well enough. He's the number two running back with a team that, Rashad White is not like set in stone as like the guy that's definitely going to be there all year. But good to see. They signed Chase Edmonds in the offseason, but it looks like they like their rookie better.
Oh, that's tough. So that he's only allowed to have 3 running backs on the roster, and that's really tough. That's a tough league, dude. And he's got White, Cook, and Gibbs. I would probably take Cook and Gibbs as the 1-2 there, and then it's tough between Nahi and Rashad White.
You know,
Man, especially with the Steelers. Well, with the Steelers having the Niners next week, you're starting Cook and Gibbs probably, because Detroit's got that hopefully high scoring game against Seattle,
hmm
and then the
yeah.
Bills get
Let's
to bounce back against Las Vegas. So you're starting Cook. Man, that's a tough one.
dude. Yeah, that's tough. Um, Flip a coin.
I
That's really
know,
hard.
right?
I'm probably just going with Najee. I think there's more job security, personally. Um,
Yeah,
I got
he's got
offered
the higher draft capital. Um, he's
better
got. I mean, hopefully
offense.
he
We
gets a.
think
Hopefully he bring back the receptions and stuff. And yeah, we think it's a better offense. It's just going to be a rough week too, but I think I would take Nahi for over Rashad White. That's so
mhm.
hard, man. That's tough.
So
That's a
this
tough
trade,
league.
yeah, this trade. So I got offered ETN for Najee and Pacheco. I think I want ETN there.
I know. I knew your answer was going to be that. Um, yeah, generally you want the best player available, and Pacheco he's sharing a backfield with McKinnon. Um, CH
So
is
he
still
said it
around.
backwards. He got offered Pacheco and Najee for ETN. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
for
a
ETN.
decline. That's a decline, dude.
Keep ETN. It's a good offer. I think it's a good offer, and I think it's probably a pretty close to a fair trade. Um, but I just ETN. I think we're both like him better right now.
Hmm. Yeah, Pacheco is just kind of. We didn't talk about the Lions Kansas City game, but weird game, right? I mean, for Kansas City, um, they used Clyde Edwards-Helaire a decent amount. They didn't use Jerick McKinnon at all. And Pacheco
Yeah.
got like what 4 carries, something like that. I don't know, man. It was odd. I don't know that we understand the running back landscape there. So I'd rather have ETN because he's a for sure starter every week.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, I see there's people watching live right now. So if you have any more questions that you want to ask us, we'll hang on for a few more minutes and get those answered. It's been cool hanging out with everyone. Please like the video, subscribe to Nickel City Mafia. Jeremy and I do this show every week. We're either going to do it on Tuesday or Wednesday, kind of depending on our schedule each week. So, we do live Q&A for an hour or 2 hours every week. So stop on by, ask your questions. Hope to see you guys. We also have a Discord, Nickel City Mafia Discord. It's free to join if you'd like to do that. And yeah, if you're a Bills fan, you're definitely in the right place because there's Bills content daily that comes out. And the guys that talk on this channel really know their stuff. They're super passionate. So if you or any of your friends are Bills fans, send them this way because they will definitely enjoy it. But anyway, looks like that's it for this week. Really excited to see week 2 because then we have more than one data point. We have what's called a trend, right? So yeah, we'll be able to be a lot smarter and look at 2 games worth of snap counts and usage and coach speak and stuff like that. So
No more injuries.
no more
Knock on
injuries.
everything.
There's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
enough. Oh, got one more question at the buzzer. Thanks 24 gang for coming to hang out. Appreciate it. Swift or AJ Dillon? I think we're both pretty anti-Swift.
Yeah, but I think I'd go Swift here and just hope for a home run
So let's say
in a high scoring game.
if Aaron Jones doesn't play, which he's listed as questionable,
Oh, that's true.
so
But
he
he's got to
didn't he
start
did
Swift tomorrow. That's the problem. That's tough.
that sucks.
Yeah, because the
So
Eagles play Thursday night football.
so here okay. So here's what I like to do.
And the Packers do get the Falcons.
Here's what I like to do in this situation. What I like to do in this situation is because you know if Aaron Jones doesn't play, AJ Dillon's a slam dunk, must start, probably like a top 15 running back. Because you have that upside, what I would do would be not play Swift, hold on hope that Aaron Jones doesn't play, but you need another running back or whoever to put in your flex or your running back that is a viable starter. So that's the way I would play it. Just because I love AJ Dillon's matchup and his upside if Aaron Jones is out.
That's true.
And
That's a
I'm
good
just not.
point.
I'm not a Swifty. I'm not a Swifty.
It's got me leaning AJ Dillon, but also wait till the last second, see if some news breaks. You
I would
never know; they could
say.
break news tomorrow.
I would say. Get on Packers Twitter and do some searches tomorrow evening, and see what if Aaron Jones didn't practice again, and maybe the coach has a press conference or something. I would look into that heavy because you need to play AJ Dillon if Aaron Jones is on the more doubtful side of questionable. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for hanging out. If you're still sticking around, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next week. Later.
See y'all.